Shabbat Shalom. Welcome. Thank you for joining me this evening. We're going to continue by welcoming the Shabbat angels with the words of Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malchei Hashamayim, Malchei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Mo'achem l'shalom, Malchei Hashalom, Malchei Elyon. Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Eli l'shalom, Malchei Hashalom, Malchei Elyon. Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzidchem l'shalom, Malchei Hashalom, Malchei Elyon. Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If you're following along at home with your service, we're at the bottom of page 1. Reb Nachman said that a human being reaches in 3 directions: inward to self, outward to people, and upward toward God. The real secret, taught Nachman, is that the 3 are one. When we are connected to ourselves, we can reach out to others. When we reach out to others, we may come to know God. May this melody and this gathering help us to quiet our minds and open our hearts. May we feel and know the connection that exists between ourselves, our community, and our Creator. We continue at the top of page 2. When we sing, we sing, we sing, we pray twice. When we sing, O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, letzivanu le'achlik We continue at the bottom of the page. We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat, which unites us in faith and hope, for Shabbat holiness, which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories glowing even in darkness, for Shabbat peace born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God. Open my heart tonight to welcome Shabbat in the natural way I did as a child. Open, unquestioning, believing. Leaning against my father, Shabbat melodies became mine as the fringes of his talit slipped through my fingers again and again. The mixed joys of hugs and handshakes, crushing yet reassuring. Hot tea, the peace of Friday nights. Let me capture those lost Shabbatot, their message of belonging. I give thanks for my friends. They pull me to community. They help me to remember. In their presence, I understand the words. Their meaning becomes part of the Shabbat in me. Beloved, come to meet the bride. Beloved, come to greet Shabbat. You'll find the words to the Chadodi at the top of page 3. Lechadodi likrat kana hine Shabbat nekabela lechadodi likrat kana hine Shabbat nekabela Shamor v'zachor v'diborecha Adonai, lightning Shalom, Ateret Ba'ala, Gam Simcha Uvitzola, Doch Emunei Am Sekula, Boi Chala, Boi Chala, We continue at the top of page 4 with the Chatzi Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash me'raba B'yamadi v'rachirutei v'yamlich machutei Mechai hechon v'yom hechon Uv'chai dechol Beit Yisrael Bagala, bagala Uv'yisman kariv Rimeru, Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorach Le'alam Ulal Mehanaya Yitbarach Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh V'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal Shmei Dekutsha B'richu Leila min kobrachata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran miyama v'imeru amen. A legend. When God decided to create human beings, the angels were jealous. For angels had not been created in the divine image. The angels plotted to hide the divine image from human beings. One suggested burying it in the depths of the sea, another in the crag of a jagged mountain peak. But the most clever of the angels suggested, no, let us hide the divine image within each person. It is the last place they will ever look. Our service continues as we rise for our call to prayer. As the day becomes night, the velvet cloak of darkness descends, enveloping us in its warmth. We snuggle into its folds, eyes closed, breathing deeply. We feel at peace. We feel the cares and worries of the day fall away, leaving quiet contentment, serenity. We continue at the top of page 5. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Boreon v'layla, boler lo mipnei choshech, boler lo mipnei choshech, lechoshech mipnei or. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Moreon v'layla, boler lo mipnei choshech, boler lo mipnei choshech, lechoshech mipnei or. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. We continue on page 7 at the top. Hear, O Israel, the divine abounds everywhere and dwells in everything. The many are one. Loving life and its mysterious source with all our heart and our spirit, all our senses and strength, we take upon ourselves and into ourselves these promises: to care for the earth and those who live upon it, to pursue justice and peace, to love kindness and compassion. We will teach this to our children throughout the passage of the day, as we dwell in our homes and as we go on our journeys from the time we rise until we fall asleep. And may our actions be faithful to our words, that our children's children may live to know truth and kindness have embraced, peace and justice have kissed and are one. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod, Shem Kivod Malchuto, Leolam, Leolam Vaed. Please be seated and join me in the middle of page 8. And thou shalt love Adonai thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy might. words which I command you on this day shall be in thy heart, shall be in thy heart, and thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and thou shalt speak of them when thou sittest in thy house, when thou walkest by the way, and when thou risest up, and when thou liest down, and when thou liest down. And thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thy hand, and they shall be for frontlets between thine eyes, and thou shalt write them on the doorpost of thy house, and upon thy gates, and upon thy gates, that ye may remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your God. Page 9. When evil darkens our world, let us be the bearers of light. When fists are clenched in righteous, self-righteous rage, let our hands be open for the sake of peace. When injustice slams doors on the ill, the poor, the old, and the stranger, let us pry the doors open. Where shelter is lacking, let us be the builders. Where food and clothing are needed, let us be providers. Where knowledge is denied, let us be champions of learning. When dissent is stifled, let our voices speak truth to power. When the earth and its creatures are threatened, let us be their guardians. When bias, greed, and bigotry erode our country's values, let us proclaim liberty throughout the land. In the places where no one acts like a human being, let us bring courage. Let us bring compassion. Let us bring humanity. Micha Mocha. Micha Mocha ba'elim Adonai, Micha Mocha netar b'kodesh, Micha Mocha ba'elim Adonai, Micha Mocha netar b'kodesh. Norati lo osef elev, Norati In the middle of page 10, Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'ha'amidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us a shelter of peace. And our song will begin with these words, Ushmor tseitenu uvoenu, l'chayimu shalom me'ata ve'ad olam. Guard our coming and going to life and to peace evermore. Ushmor tzeitenu uvoenu lechaim leshalom me'ata ve'ad olam me'ata ve'ad olam me'ata ve'ad olam mashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomereinu l'chaim, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, me'ata ve'ad olam, me'ata ve'ad olam, me'ata Ushmor tzeitenu uvoenu lechaim u'leshalom me'ata ve'ad olam me'ata ve'ad olam me'ata ve'ad olam Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomereinu l'chaim, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, me'ata ve'ad olam, me'ata ve'ad olam, me'ata me'ata ve'ad olam, me'ata ve'ad olam, me'ata ve'ad olam. The meaning of Shabbat is to celebrate time rather than space. 6 days a week, we live under the tyranny of things of space. On Shabbat, we try to become attuned to holiness in time. It is a day on which we are called upon to share in what is eternal in time, to turn from the results of creation to the mystery of creation, from the world of creation to the creation of the world. Shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם בני ישראל אותי לעולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ We continue on page 12, the Tefillah. Let us rise. Adonai, sefatai tiftachu fi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Koneh Hakol, V'Zocher Chastei Avot v'Imahot, U'Mevii Geulah Livnei Bneihem, Le'man Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atarav lehoshia, Morid hatal, Mechakel chayim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim v'rofei cholim, U'matir asurim, U'mekayem emunato lishenei afar. Micha mocha ba'al givurot, U'mido melech, Melech memit u'mechayeh, U'matmiach Yeshua. V'neman atah lehachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kdoshim b'chol yom yahalelu chasela, Baruch atah Adonai hakadosh. Please be seated as we continue at the bottom of page 13. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day, and may this day fulfill its promise. Praise to you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu ba'amcha Yisrael, Utfilatam be'ahava tekabel, Uti l'ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael amecha. Ever-present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer. Wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land, in Zion restored, in all lands, you are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha b'yir'ah na'avod. Modim anachnu lach she'atahu Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu le'olam va'ed. Tzur chayenu magen yish'enu atahu l'dor vador. May it be your will, O our God, that we be allowed to stand in places of astonishing light and not in dark places. And may our hearts know no pain, and may our vision not be so clouded that we would not see all the blessings of life that you have given us. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Hasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Hasim Leolam. Yita'u Melech Adon Lechol Shalom. Yita'u Melech Adon Shalom Rama Yisrael Amcha Hasid Leolam. Shalom Rama Yisrael Amcha Hasid Leolam. V'tov b'necha levarech et Amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה ישמעך. Shalom Rama Yisrael Amcha Hasid Leolam. Shalom Rama Yisrael Amcha Hasid Leolam. Hasid Leolam. Hasid Leolam. We take a moment now for our own silent prayers. Yehud ratzon imrei fi. Yehud ratzon imrei fi. V'yehud livi lefanecha. Adonai tzuri v'goli. Yehud ratzon imrei fi. Yehud ratzon imrei fi. V'yehud livi lefanecha. Adonai tzuri v'goli. Oh, may the words of my mouth, the meditations of my heart be acceptable before you. Oh God, my rock and my redeemer. Oseh shalom. Oseh shalom b'mromav. U'yaseh shalom aleinu. V'al kol Yisrael. V'himru, v'himru. Amen. I'm so very grateful tonight. I have a sermon from Rabbi Goodman. Thank you so much, Rabbi. He only made it a little awkward for me because he talks about me in the first paragraph, but I will do my best to channel him. These are his Shabbat thoughts. Before I begin these brief musings, I want to thank Cantor Barry for the opportunity through her to share a few Shabbat thoughts with you. Cantor Barry has truly been a gift to us at the temple. All of us feel a deep-seated sense of gratitude to her for the beautiful worship services she leads, but also for all that she does to be a big part of the glue that keeps us together during these difficult times. We're also grateful for the work of our caring committee. On Wednesday morning, I participated in a Zoom Yisker memorial service on the 7th day of Passover. Since our self-quarantine has begun, I have logged a great deal of phone time, doing my best to reach out to dear friends from the temple and beyond who should not be alone. As we got organized before the service, I suddenly saw a bunch of people with whom I have had only phone contact for the last month. It was such a wonderful feeling of connectedness. It was indeed a special moment. I confess that I'm inclined to introspection, trying to think beyond the moment and looking at the larger picture, looking at the pluses and minuses of our current state of affairs. Being homebound, except perhaps for a trip here or there for groceries and the like, we search for ways to meaningfully occupy our time. It is difficult enough for those of us who are generally in good health. If that is not the case, it becomes increasingly trying and difficult. I try to remind myself that I'm in a vulnerable age bracket, that I should be grateful for every day of good health that I enjoy. Like everyone else, I live with the reality that another shoe may drop at any time. As a rabbi, I've spent much of my life reaching out to others, living the Jewish values that I try to impart to others. Being privileged to make a small difference in the lives of others is one of the big rewards of being a clergy person. It goes a long way to making up for the many frustrations that plague our profession. Running to a hospital or nursing home or visiting a person at home is, for now, not an option. All of us can do the next best thing, sending that uplifting or humorous email, or making that extra phone call, or digging into your collection of cards that you have just in case. That just in case scenario is upon us. During my many years in the pulpit, I did not look forward to preparing B'nai Mitzvah students whose Torah portions are found in the book of Leviticus. With the exception of chapter 19, perhaps the most magnificent chapter in the Torah, it is very legalistic and not seemingly relevant to the lives of our students. Its contents are a challenge to their B'nai Mitzvah teachers. Take this week's Torah portion, Shemini, Leviticus 9 through 11, as a case in point. It contains, among other things, detailed descriptions of various types of sacrifices permitted by the temple priests. While we're currently making personal sacrifices in order to be safe and healthy, the contents are less than exhilarating. Next week's double portion, Tazria Metzora, is even more exciting. It provides an even greater challenge to B'nai Mitzvah teachers and their students. It contains a detailed description of a skin disease akin to leprosy. Today, it is also known as Hansen's disease, and it can be treated with antibiotics. Throughout history, a leper, a person with leprosy, was treated as an untouchable and was permanently banned from society. Once a person contracted the disease, there were no second chances. The term "to be treated like a leper" has become a phrase to describe one who is excluded from or ignored like the plague. In the last 2,500 years and until the 20th century, there was only one major exception to this strict banishment from society: our Jewish tradition. The priests of the Israelites were also medicine men, de facto doctors, healers. Our Torah describes how the priests knew how to diagnose leprosy. When they encountered a person with leprosy, they did not ban that individual from society. Instead, they quarantined them. Yes, quarantine. Our priests in our Torah gave the world the concept of quarantine, but they also knew when the person was no longer contagious. Then they and the Israelite society joyfully welcomed the former leper back into the community. What an amazing contribution to humanity. Think about it. Our Torah serves as a precedent for what we are doing today. As I think back to the joy of seeing my friends and fellow congregants on Wednesday morning, I thought to myself, what a joy it will be when I am able to share hugs by the dozens. The book of Ecclesiastes offers us a related insight. We have all heard the eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow you shall die theme bandied about. At first glimpse, it seems to be the so-called Epicurean idea that we should live life fully, even over the top, because it will end soon. It implies that doing things in excess is permitted and even encouraged, but such is really not the case. In the Yizkor worship service and elsewhere, we read from chapter 3 of Ecclesiastes, speaking of what seems to be the endless repetition of the mundane. A season is set for everything, a time for every experience under heaven, a time for being born and a time for dying, a time for tearing down and a time for building up, a time for weeping and a time for laughing, a time for embracing and a time for shunning embraces, a time for silence and a time for speaking, a time for war and a time for peace. Immediately after these words, Kohelet, the author of Ecclesiastes, says, "Thus I realize that the only worthwhile thing there is for them is to enjoy themselves and do what is good in their lifetime. Also, that whenever a person does eat and drink and gets enjoyment out of all his resources, it is a gift of God." If you study this little book carefully, you discover that Kohelet devotes his life to discovering what is meaningful in life. He has the opportunity to enjoy the good things in life, but quickly discovers that pleasure is transitory. It does not last. He discovers that meaning in life comes from caring and loving relationships and shared joys. Most of us play our part in creating new life, but we as humans do much more than that. As we care about ourselves and our well-being, we also care about and care for others. Life is about caring and sharing. Harold Kushner tells of an elderly priest who, when he was young, was glad that he was not burdened with family and children. As his life drew to a close, he discovered how alone he was. It is not about the making big changes in our world, for that is a privilege that few enjoy. Rather, it is about the many small, but in reality huge acts of kindness and caring that we do for others. It is that email, that phone call, that act of thoughtfulness that we often perform without giving it a second thought. So many of us have rediscovered how little things are really big things in the lives of others and in our lives. I pray that these lessons of humanity that we have rediscovered during these trying times remain a permanent part of our lives and that of our society in the weeks and months ahead. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Rabbi Goodman. Kein Yehi Ratzon, may it be God's will. Shabbat Shalom to you and to Marilyn. We turn now to our prayers for healing, beginning on page 17. Healing is both an exercise and an understanding, and yet not the will nor of the intention. It is a wisdom and a deeper knowledge of the daily swing of life and death in all creation. There is defeat to overcome and acceptance of living to be established, and always there must be hope. Not the hope of healing, but the hope which informs the coming moment and gives it reason. The hope which is each person's breath, the certainty of love and of loving. Death may live in the living, and healing rise in the dying. For whom the natural end is part of the gathering and the harvest to be expected, To know healing is to know that all life is one. We pray for family, friends, members of this congregation, and for everyone who is injured or ill in body or in spirit. Some of us pray for ourselves. Others pray for those who are dearest to us. Give strength and purpose, unflagging energy, and deep wells of patience to all who seek healing and to their caregivers, family, and friends. O God, gracious parent, hear our prayer and make our lives a blessing. Our congregation is especially thinking of Carol Babcock, Malcolm Bloom, Richard Owen Butler, Basha Goldstein Cantor, Diane Senzano, Shirley Cohen, Tom Davis, Art Fields, Paul Friedman, Judy Greenhut, Marshall Hawes, Shirley Joseph, Ben Jacobson, Judy Jacobson, Robert Kay, Marilyn Levitt, Neva Lerner, Bill Lewis, George Matthews, Barbara McDonald, Rosalind Millar, Laura Osofsky, Barbara Poliv, James Penson, Buddy Pollock, Elisa Powell, Robert Powell, Randall Rout, Marlene Rebb, Sandra Reznikoff, Alex Rosen, Alan Setzer, Ruthie Silver, Bernie Sims, Ram Temko, Bob Tews, Bernice Tobis, Cheryl Vince, Susan Warrington Wagman, Carla Weissman, Ed Whitland. We think, of course, of the over 2 million people affected by the coronavirus, those who are struggling to keep breathing, and our healthcare workers fighting to help them. And if you have names to add to our list this evening, please say them aloud now. We join in our Misha Berach at the top of page 18. Misha Berach Avoteinu Mikol HaBracha May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mikor habracha la'orteinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema. The renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. We continue now in the middle of page 19 with Aleinu. Let us rise. I'm going to open the ark. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'teit gedula liotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kigoyei haratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot hadama, shelo sam chalkeinu kahem, v'goralinu kecho hamonam. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים Kadosh Baruch Hu. V'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. Please be seated. Page 20. We are loved by an unending love. We are embraced by arms that find us, even when we're hidden from ourselves. We are touched by fingers that soothe us, even when we are too proud for soothing. We are counseled by voices that guide us, even when we are too embittered to hear. We are loved by an unending love. We are supported by hands that uplift us even in the midst of a fall. We are urged on by eyes that meet us even when we are too weak for meeting. We are loved by an unending love, embraced, touched, soothed, and counseled. Ours are the arms, the fingers, the voices. Ours are the hands, the eyes, the smiles. We are loved by an unending love. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. We mourn the recent losses of our loved ones, Rita Kurland, Marie Groom-Bresson, Natalie Bloom, Al Green, Mike Berkey, Stanley Kaplan, and Pollock Edelman. And we observe this Shabbat the yahrzeit of Robert Bedenbaugh Jr., Suzanne Lissner Bernard, Sue Corr, Martin Feldman, Ellen Flynn, Theodore Friedman, Lois Isaac Geffen, Marin Marty J. Gottlieb, Albert Gottlieb, Frank Howard, Albert Israel, Ruth Taxier Joseph, Herbert Joseph, Irving B. Corman, Dr. David Kruchik, Fanny Lindworth, Max Lindworth, Andrea Nicole Levin, J. Sigmund Levy, Harry Meiselman, Louise Meyer, Phyllis Anathan Myers, Sidney Pargman, David M. Rhine, Samuel Reitzis, William Resnick, Anne E. Ringgold, Scott Saraga, Dr. Irvin Schneider, Fanny Schoenbraun, David Snyder, Evelyn Turitz, Maxine Tuvman, Jules Wagman, Harvey R. Wasserman, Harold Yagid. We think as well of those who have lost their lives to the virus here and around the world. If you are thinking of someone that you have lost, I welcome you to say their name aloud now. For all of our loved ones whom we've named aloud and those we hold in our hearts, we rise together as a community to extol God's name with the words of the Mourner's Kaddish on page 21. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'alam ul'al me'almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudsha barichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran ba'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who makes peace on high make peace for those who mourn, and over all of Jerusalem. And let us say, Amen. Please be seated. I've been told that some of you are enjoying wine while watching services, but this will be the official kiddush over the wine. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu. B'shabbat kodsho me'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu. Zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit ki hu yom techila lemikrai kodesh zecher letziat mitzrayim ki vanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava u'v'ratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadosh haShabbat. L'chaim. And this evening, in honor of having completed the festival of Passover, we graduated tonight from a mini bagel to a regular-sized bagel. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Tonight, our service concludes the way we began, with the words, Hine ma tov u'ma na'im shevet achim gam yachad. How good it was for us to gather tonight together to celebrate Shabbat. Hine ma tov u'ma na'im shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'ma na'im shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'ma na'im shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'ma na'im shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'ma na'im shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'ma na'im shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'ma na'im shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'ma na'im shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'ma na'im shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'ma na'im shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'ma na'im shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'ma na'im shevet are so thrilled you've joined us this evening. Just because we've connected virtually, we are no less connected. May this Shabbat bring you peace of mind, that we are all in this together. We are with you. Shabbat Shalom.